Hello guys, so we'll be learning how to cut and sew this Ankara flare gown you can see on this screen. This is my fabric. So this, if this is something you're interested in, keep watching. So I folded my fabric into two. That's what I did here. After folding the fabric into two neatly, I folded it in a triangle form because I didn't want my flare to be 360. I didn't want it to be too full, so this was exactly how I folded it. I just folded it like this. Yes, as you can see on the screen, you do this neatly so you wouldn't be having unequal edges, so you just fold it very well. After folding it, I started imputing my measurements. So actually I'm making this gown for myself. So I drew out my line, my starting point. After drawing my starting point, I measured my shoulder. My shoulder is 14 divided by 2, which is 7. That's what I did up there. I didn't know my camera was not viewing, recording that part properly, but I just measured my shoulder. I just took my shoulder measurements, then I took my armhole measurements. I measured 8 here. The armhole depth, I took 8 here. I took 8 here. I was just checking that. I was just checking the chest line. I was just checking since it was flare now, so I'll know what I'm measuring. So I just measured the same 7 there, but I added 1 inches because of ease, and then I connected the line from my shoulder to my armhole depth. That's what I did. That's my chest line. So I took 1 inches down from the shoulder line for my shoulder slope. Then I divided my armhole measurement by 2. After taking that 1 inches, it was 7, right? Because it was 8 we took at first. So now we are left with 7. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So I put in that 3.5 there. That's what I did there, so you can see it. After measuring 3.5, I went in to put in my bust measurements. My bust divided by 2 was 9 because my bust divided by 4 was 9 because my bust is 36. Then I put in 2 inches for ease and sewing allowance because I wanted this gown to be free and not too free. That was what I did here. Now we'll come back to the armhole measurements. Remember, I divided it into 2, which gave us 3.5. I took in half inches in for the front armhole to get this curve. As you can see there, I just went in by half inches to get that curve there. So now I went in to measure my full length measurement. So I just imputed my full length measurement. I used my length. My length was the length I used for this gown was 35. I added 1 inches for hemming the edges. I didn't want the gown to be long. I just want it to be very portable. That's what I did here. So I just marked out 36. I was trying to mark it evenly, so it's flare now. I didn't want one side to be longer than the other side. So this is me marking out the 36 as the length of the gown, and then I connected the dots. And And that's all. I'm not cutting out the neck. I use 3.5 for the neck wideness, but I'm not cutting it out because the front and back neck is not the same. The front and back neck is different. The front neck is a little bit deeper than the back neck. The back neck is high, so I didn't cut it the same. And even the armhole, this effect of half inches was only for the front. The back doesn't have that half inches, and that's why I'm going to cut it this way. Now you watch the way I'm going to cut the armhole. I'm going to cut it the way the back is, without this half inches that I put in. I'm not cutting out that half inches I took in, no, I'm just going to cut it the way the back is. I eyeballed it and cut it out like this. Yes, that's all. That's what I did. Then I opened it, removed the back piece from it. I detached it from it. That's the back piece I'm putting away. Then I kept the front. I now put the front piece to work on it. Now I'm going to take in that half. I'm going to cut out that half inch we took in for the armhole. As you can see, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm taking out that half inch that I marked out. So this is just for the front piece. The back doesn't have this. Then it's time for me to take my neck measurements. I told you the wideness of the neck was 3.5. Then for the deepness of the neck, I'm going to be using 3.5 because I didn't want it to be too high, and I want it to I want to be able to just wear it a little bit free, so I won't have issues dragging it down my head. So I'm going with 3.5. The neck is not really big. Wideness 3.5, deepness, the depth is 3.5. So as you can see, I'm just going to cut it out. And that is it for the front piece. Now I'm going to cut out the neck for the back piece. I told you for the back piece, I want the neck to be higher than the front piece. The wideness remains 3.5. That's the wideness of the neck, 3.5. That's what I just did now. Then for the back piece, the depth of the neck, I use 2 inches because it's higher than the front. So that's just what I did, and I cut it out. And that's all for the back piece. Now I want to cut the hand. As you can see, the hand of the dress is flay, not too flay, just like the gown. The way we cut it, fold our fabric into two and fold it in a triangular form. Cut out our starting point. We measure out our starting points. That's just almost the same pattern with the gown. I'm just going to measure the length of the hand. For the hand, the length of the hand is 23. We'll be using 23. We'll be using 23 for the length of the hand. I'm just going to measure out 23. I just used dotted lines, then I connected my lines. That was all I did at this point. And this is just how I drafted the hand. As you can see, exactly like this is how I drafted the hand. Told you I did not want my flay to be big. I just want it to be portable. When you see it, you know it's flare, but it's not too big, it's not too full, I mean. And then I notch the middle, so it's for ease when I'm sewing it. So this, I cut out the inter for turning the neck. I'm using the pieces to turn the neck, so you can see what it looks like after I turned it. This is what it looks like. I gave it a nice press, and I use hemming gum to press it properly so it won't be like turning. That was what I did. I just ironed it. I know I didn't use lining for this particular dress because I don't want it to be heavy. I just want the dress to be really free on me. So after I ironed it properly, this was how I joined the shoulder. I placed it together, then I used the turning for one of the neck to, just like so. This was how I did it. I used the turning to cover up the whole shoulder, then took it to the machine and so this is how it looks like. Just so I didn't want my sewing to show at the bad part of the dress and the good part of the dress. I just wanted a neat work. This is what it looks like after I sewed it that way, and then I pressed it properly. This is what it looks like after I connected the hand. I joined the hand after I've pressed the neck properly and placed the hemming gum. This is what it looks like after I have joined the hand to the gown. So you can see we are almost done. Now I'm just going to take it to the machine and sew the side, and that is all for the dress. So you see, I just took it to the machine and sewed this side. While I was making this dress, I was ironing each process for knit job. This is what it looks like on the mannequin after making it. You can see. So I would say the work, like to have a good result like this, you just have to iron all the process so it will come out properly like this. It is a very easy gown if you just follow all of the procedures I used. You can see what the sleeves look like. It's not really full and it's not small. It looks flare, more like A-line, something like that. So this is what it looks like, yeah, on the mannequin. Now this is what it looks like on my body. This was what it looks like on my body when I wore it. This was what it looks like. You can see it came out exactly how I wanted it to come out. Not too full, but